Why has Ahang SA expelled its MP, Mike Chishonga? Is the expulsion of Mike Chishonga from Ahang legal? Why did Ahang withdraw the motion of no confidence against President Zuma? Will Ahang follow in the footsteps of Cope and Azapo? What time is it? It's question time. This is question time, and I'm Paul Seidu. It would appear all is not well at Ahang SA. After failing to garner as much votes as they had promised in last year's general elections, their leader, Dr. Mampela Rampela, decided to call it quits. Then, Andres Tloyama and Mike Chishonga became the only two members of parliament representing the party. But, as we said, all is not well in the camp. Tloyama today expelled Chishonga. Chishonga is challenging this. His camp claims instead that Tloyama is a persona non grata in the party. Both joins us on question time. Mr. Tloyama, you earlier announced the expulsion of Mr. Chishonga. Just take us through that.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all viewers. Mr. Chishonga's expulsion was a fair process. There was a hearing held on the 12th of January, and then the hearing which took place in Pretoria. Unfortunately, Mr. Chishonga did not pitch up. Instead, he sent some people with the letter from the doctor declaring to be sick. But what is funny is that before he sent that letter, on Sunday of the 11th, he approached the South High Court trying to interdict the hearing not to continue, and then he failed with costs. So the chairperson of the hearing, Susan Harvey, decided to further give Mr. Chishonga another opportunity in Western Cape. Mr. Chishonga sent again a letter claiming to be sick again. So the process was fair. He was invited to the disciplinary hearing. Like any other member who transgress, we do the same process. He's not above the law.
But his camp, if I may call it that, are saying you are a persona non grata in the party.
I don't know what is the meaning of person non grata. I don't even know what is his camp, because all the decisions which we took as the NEC, I was not alone. It was members of the NEC. And we actually even invited him, even if we wanted to discipline him. The problem with Mr. Chishonga, he acts like he's above the law, he's above the NEC.
Okay.
For him, this is about survival. He has got no interest to the people. Those people who are supporting him, they fail to recognize the NEC.
Okay. Mr. Chishonga, you are on the line, as I believe indeed. What is your response to this?
I think the word fairness is a relative. You can't call the kangaroo inquiry fair. Where, if you look at the inquiry procedures, it is an internal matter. It's not an external. Now, where you have Susan Harvey, the advocate in the Western Cape bar, and who is not a member of the party, and also Michael Osborne, who was invited to be the prosecutor against, in violation of the Constitution, which says the prosecutor must be a person in good standing within the party, and you can't call that fairness unless fairness has adopted another meaning. And the second issue is the expulsion. You can't talk about somebody that has been expelled when you haven't exhausted all the internal procedures and appeal. If you do that, it's either you have an agenda or you are beginning with the end in mind, which I don't think augurs well with the principle of fairness. The medical certificate which was there, if there was any doubt which was submitted. If there was any doubt and there was no agenda, there should have been an inquiry or investigation into the validity of this medical certificate.
Okay.
I can't be hospitalized, and then if people don't want to know about me, unless I think they have agenda, they wanted to achieve what they wanted to achieve, to say Chishonga has been expelled.
Okay.
It's not true.
All right. Now, Mr. Chishonga, you have now been expelled. Where to now?
You see, you are you are going the wrong way. The expulsion cannot be said it has been completed until the processes have been followed. So Yamma has written a letter to the Speaker saying that Mr. Chishonga has been expelled. The membership of Mr. Chishonga has been terminated. And the Speaker, through the Secretary, wrote back to him. And they said, tell us, clarify this. Has the internal processes been exhausted, including the appeal? They haven't received that. Then we cannot talk about expulsion.
Okay. Mr. Chishonga, I would most probably trust your judgment when it comes to interpretation of the law. But fact of the matter is that Mr. Tloyama here announced your expulsion today. Mr. Tloyama, who's fooling who here?
What I like about Mr. Chishonga that he's confirming that there was a disciplinary hearing. He's also confirming that he was sick while on Sunday he was in court trying to interdict us. He's also confirming that we've wrote a letter to Parliament. Then it means I am not lying.
Is he lying?
The issue, no, of course, he is confused, and then I can tell him it's better for him to do an appeal as soon as possible. He sounds like someone who understands the law. What I need to tell you is that the process was fair. We have made it very clear to I have responded to the Speaker. I told the Speaker that we have done the hearing. We did send the judgment of Advocate Susan Harvey, and then we are waiting for the Speaker to respond back to us. It's for him really to indicate whether he's going to do a review or an internal appeal.
But then why did you use people who are not members of the party, Mr. Tloyama, if I may ask?
You see, here we were looking for the issue of impartiality. Susan Harvey is a credible mediator, arbiter. He's a part-time senior commissioner. He has been doing reconciliatory process. All I'm trying to say is that we were doing, even if we could have used someone in the party, Mr. Chishonga could have come back and say, no, this is from one of Andre's camp. Or both sides would have had reservations. So we decided to have an impartial person who has got no interest in the party, who will come and give judgment without fear or favor. And I want to say this to you, Mpo. If Mr. Chishonga believes in the process of law, he should have attended this disciplinary hearing.
But he says
with
he was
humility.
ill, Mr. Tloyama.
You know, the sickness of Mr. Chishonga, I'm sure might be these strange sicknesses, because on Sunday, 7 o'clock, you are in court fighting for an interdict. Early in the morning on Monday, you can't even walk. This must be Ebola indeed, but a new kind of Ebola. Because you are in court chanting, smiling, and then in the morning you can't walk, you are hospitalized 5 hours later. But I give him a benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was shocked of losing the interdict. But what surprises me that after that Monday, Tuesday, he came to Parliament. And then the next week when we have arranged another date, he got sick again. And a day before the second day of the hearing, he was healthy, walking like a young boy. So I am saying is his tactics ill-advised by some lawyers that avoid the disciplinary hearing by pretending to be sick.
Okay, hold the thought there. Mr. Chishonga, I'm going to give you time to reply only after the break. We're taking a quick break. Please don't go away.
We live in a digital era, and the number of Africans with mobile phones is rapidly increasing.
Twitter use is predominantly being done on smartphones. This is a very African phenomenon.
Here, there are constantly new innovative ways to make the internet more affordable. With that, we're seeing protests against governments proposing methods to limit access. On Network, we give you information about all of this. We also have new computers, games, and robots.
Join Siphumelele Zondi on Network every Sunday at 19:30 CAT.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today, members of parliament who represent Ahang, and the other one is said to have been expelled by now. Andrews Tloyama is the leader, and Mr. Mike Chishonga also joins us. What Chishonga, please just respond to what Mr. Tloyama has said here.
Yes, I said there was no fairness. In fact, you elaborated it very well. Michael Osborne is a senior counsel who is not a member, not even, we don't talk even about the good standing. And Susan Harvey, they belong to the same bar, the Western Cape bar. And the Constitution does not allow the external people to interfere in the internal affairs. If you remember the disciplinary of Julius Malema, the presiding officer was Ramaphosa, who was the member, and then the prosecutor was also the member. The one who represented Malema was Dalim Mpofu, also, and it was a member of ANC then. It is ethical to when you deal with an internal inquiry, to use the people within. You cannot just think of adopting another person.
Okay.
So, let me say this. If you look at Michael Osborne, and you look at all the cases in Ahang, he was a leading in all these he's a leading character in all these cases, and then he has been promoted. And in fact, he was privy with all this. And then, how can you call this fairness?
Okay.
And he was promoted to be the prosecuting authority. It's unethical, and in fact, I'm intending to take this matter to the bar. It cannot be it cannot be allowed.
Now, Mr. Chishonga, are you ill?
Right now, I'm not ill, but I was ill.
Okay, so who are you?
And also, it's not true that the following Monday, I attended the plenary session. It's not true, because from there, in fact, it was almost 2 weeks. I was not in Parliament. Now, why he is mentioning the following Monday that I was in the plenary or in Parliament? That is a lie.
Mr. Tloyama, why are you saying Mr. Chishonga was in Parliament when he says he was not fit to do that?
All I'm saying is that it's very, very strange indeed. Mr. Chishonga behaves like he called illness to himself and it comes quickly. I was simply saying on Sunday he was in court. Our court took until 6 o'clock and then he failed. And then after that he was sick on Monday. Yes, we arranged a disciplinary hearing in Western Cape. The same illness came the same day of the second day of the disciplinary hearing. It's very strange indeed. And I want to emphasize this. I'm not going to defend Mr. Advocate Michael Osborne or Susan Harvey, but before Mr. Chishonga was to go to a hearing, he was informed 5 to 6 days before, actually 10 days before, if I'm not wrong, 4 to 5 days. He had an opportunity
Mr.
to
Tloyama,
write.
It's 5 to 6, then 10, it's then 5.
All I'm trying to say is that he was given an ample opportunity to to respond in writing
All
to
right.
the chairperson of the hearing or to the party and say, I contest the chairperson, I contact Advocate Osborne to be a prosecutor.
All
We
right.
could have listened to that. He chose to ignore this.
All right, Mr. Chishonga,
Yes.
what do you say to the charges that are being labeled against you?
They are fabricated. They were fabricated in the sense that, one, how do you call a person who popped out 400,000 rand to save the party and you say he misappropriated 80,000? What is 80,000? It shows that there is an agenda which is not good and not in the interest of the party. Mr. Toyama will tell you, he won't even deny this, that Ahang does not have money, and it had to pay the legal costs. And I had to pop out 400,000 rand. It is recorded.
All right. Now, let's just go on here. Mr. Chishonga, there was a press briefing yesterday. Who are you in the leadership of Ahang here? Who are the people who were speaking on your behalf?
Yesterday, we were at the press conference. Yes, I had Donald Tonsi, who is the spokesperson of Ahang. And two, I had Ambani Tenga, who is one of the NEC members. And many members from the province, all the provinces were represented.
So it was the NEC that basically called that press briefing? In fact, it was demanded by the structures. Okay.
Because they wanted to understand what is happening when Ahang tabled a motion of no confidence in Honorable Mbete and Honorable Zuma, and then withdraw the motion. They wanted to know that.
Okay. Now, who is Tloyama to that group that held the press briefing?
Tloyama, he parades himself as the president, not even acting president. He parades himself as the president of the party, and I do not know who elected him to be the president. What I know is that he is the deputy president until the elective conference. You cannot just parachute yourself and make yourself a president without election. That is not called for. It's uncalled for.
Okay. Mr. Tloyama, parachute.
Yes, sir. Well, I don't even own a parachute, but I guess it's a figure of speech.
Yes.
Mr. Chichonga was removed as an acting president because the ANC took resolution after he was suspended before he could appear into the disciplinary. He knows. We had a case which decided the 12 members of the NEC by the Judge Potgieter in Western Cape, where he never attended a single meeting from the 22 until now. He refused to attend. He doesn't even attend a single meeting. Him and one member who he just mentioned as an NEC member. And I want to emphasize, he failed to answer you when you ask whether that meeting was an NEC meeting. It was not an NEC meeting. It was just him and that NEC member. 10 members of the NEC member were not part of that media conference. And I didn't know about that media conference. I was not even invited. I think if there were genuine issues, I could have tried by all means to sit down with members who really love this party and try to iron issues rather than to call a media conference. Okay. The only thing I want to tell you, Mr. Chichonga is trying to save his skin. He's very scared to leave this parliament because I think, according to him, it's a retirement village. We want people who can come to this parliament and serve our people. Okay. And the charges are not fabricated. He used 80,000 rand unauthorized. You can give the party 1 million, but you have no right to use money unauthorized.
Okay, hold the thought there. When we return, we'll look at other matters affecting the party and perhaps the motion of no confidence which was withdrawn. This is question time.
Thank you. Yes.
Let us go to this dolus issue, dolus eventualis and dolus director. What do they actually mean to the ordinary man in the street?
A practical and easy example of dolus eventualis is where two robbers walk into a bank with the intention to rob the bank. They reconcile themselves that should the teller press the panic button, they are going to pull a trigger and kill. So the intention is not to kill, but the intention is basically to rob the bank.
That's Rights and Recourse, Sundays 2 p.m. on SABC News.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guests today, Ahang members, let's put it that way. It's Safer, Andries Tloyama and Mike Chishonga, both members of parliament. Mr. Chishonga, perhaps before we go to the motion of no confidence, how have the two of you been working since you came onto parliament? Because it would appear there's no proper communication here.
Yes. There is no proper communication. I just want to warn Tloyama that he must not be sarcastic and use a retirement village. After he also used the corpse in the coffin and is suffering from illusion. If he cannot know the difference, then he must go to the Honey Badger camp. Firstly, I didn't attend the meeting from August because Tloyama unilaterally and in collusion with some of his, he wanted to appease some of the NEC members. He appointed them irregularly, and I refused to pay them. And he came up with a campaign that I'm obstructing the progress of the party because I'm not paying the legitimate employees, whereas he appointed his own NEC in the party, in the constituency, and in the head office of Ahang for that matter. And it's not, Ahang does not have money. Okay.
Now, how have you been working?
As far as working is concerned, I mean, when we meet on the street, we do greet. I'm mature enough. I won't be sarcastic as he does. Okay. I would agree with. I would greet him, but he is not responding to any matters that relate to building the company. When he wants to make a meeting, he will put an obstruction that at that meeting they're going to discuss my disciplinary.
Okay. Now, Mr. Tloyama, perhaps quickly, you disappointed a lot of opposition parties when you withdrew the motion.
Ahang as a political party is not a cooperative. DA in parliament has its own strategy. The ANC has its own strategy. Ahang has its own strategy. These political parties left us from November until now fighting in the court for a motion of no confidence to be with a secret ballot and for the speaker to recuse herself. So the court is still going on the 11th of May. So it was very unstrategic for us to continue with a motion of no confidence while what we have requested from the court is to be finalized on the 11th of May. Okay. So strategically, I did sit down with lawyers. They told me that, listen, if you continue with this motion, your case become moot, and the speaker and the president can ask cause from that. Okay. So you withdraw this motion. You will retable it after the 11th of May. And this case is very serious because they've allocated 3 judges. All right. And I don't really understand how can Mr. Chonga now defend President Zuma with those people in the media conference. Why can't he just go and join the ANC?
Mr. Chonga, why can't you just go and join the ANC?
That's what he's dreaming. In fact, he was with you remember when the motion of no confidence in Mbete, he defended Mbete. Now he's turning around 360 degrees. He's confused. I'm not supporting ANC, but I want the process to be followed. We must be informed. He must have caucus with me. He should have had caucus with me. He should have had caucus with the member. This is a big issue of no confidence in the president. You don't just do things like a Mickey Mouse. You prepare and even lobby the other minority parties. That was never done. And they were asking me, are you going to withdraw this motion, or must we prepare?
Okay.
I didn't know. They prepared, and at the 11th hour they were disappointed.
Okay, Mr. Trama, are you on speaking terms with Mr. Chonga?
Mr. Chonga is my elder. He's my father. The only difference between myself and Mr. Chonga is that he is greedy. And to him, to come to parliament is a trophy as an individual. And then he doesn't understand is that you can't call yourself a leader of the party and you don't even attend the meetings of the NEC. We are talking as individuals. There's nothing personal. But I am telling you, we are going to defend this party. We defended it against its own founder. We'll defend it against anyone who want to. Yeah. So I want to say this again. I have lobbied. If you look at our application in the Western Cape, we have got UDM, we have got COPE. Mr. Chonga is lost. I'm sure he's talking about I should have lobbied the ANC.
Okay. Now, perhaps quickly, Mr. Trama, the leadership crisis that seems to be happening within Ahang, when is it going to end? When is conference?
We are having a constitutional conference on the 20th of March. We don't have a leadership crisis. We have a member of parliament who is lost in Cape Town in the precinct of parliament, is Mr. Chonga. And then what we are saying is that he's expelled. He must just go and do a review application. Maybe he can succeed, and he must show remorse.
But you seem to be very good at expelling, Mr. Trama.
When you are not right for the people, when you are not serving the people, when you receive advices from the ANC, even when your party pushes the objectives of which made us to be in parliament, then we need to act. Because Mr. Chonga is very much close to the ANC than Arang. He is very right. I was not even surprised for him to speak against me in regard to the motion of no confidence.
Okay.
And you know, the last thing I want to say is that this motion of no confidence, I have done it last year, November.
Okay.
It surprises me why are they raising it now after 3 months?
Mr. Trama, unfortunately, we have run out of time. Which Chonga would expect that perhaps when you come this side, please make time to come to question time so that we can have a one-on-one with you as well. That was question time for today.
Yeah, but I would think
Thank you very much.
Okay. Our email address, questiontime@sabc.co.za, our Twitter handle @questiontime24. Have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.